Pain is not your enemy, it's your initiation. Most people run from discomfort trying to numb or escape it, but the ancient spiritual traditions saw pain differently. To them, pain was the first step toward awakening. It is a signal from the soul calling us to pay attention, to stop distracting ourselves, and to look within. Pain shakes us, strips us of illusions, and demands presence. In those moments of deep struggle, something sacred is trying to emerge. Shamans, mystics, and spiritual teachers throughout history have known that suffering often marks the beginning of transformation. It's not random, it's not cruel, it's precision designed by the soul to break through the ego's resistance. When everything is going well, we rarely stop to question, grow, or evolve. But when we suffer, we are forced to reevaluate everything we thought we knew. Pain creates space for truth to enter. And here's the secret. Pain does not come to destroy you. It comes to awaken you. If you're hurting right now, it means life is trying to upgrade your consciousness. The more you resist it, the more it persists. But the moment you lean into it, listen, and allow it to guide you, that's when the spiritual work begins. Modern culture teaches us to eliminate discomfort as quickly as possible. We take pills for every ache, avoid difficult emotions, and escape into distractions, social media, entertainment, even spiritual bypassing. But in doing so, we miss the invitation. Pain is not asking for avoidance, it's asking for attention. Every pain has a message. When you listen, you begin to decode the language of your soul, and the language is simple: growth through awareness. True healing begins not when the pain stops, but when we stop running from it. The very act of turning toward your suffering is an act of spiritual maturity. It means you're ready to grow. And here's the paradox. The moment you stop resisting your pain, its grip weakens. It begins to transform. What once felt like punishment becomes clarity. What once felt like chaos becomes guidance. Pain is not an obstacle on the path. It is the path. Ancient mystics described pain as a purifying fire, burning away what is false and revealing the essence. And they were right. Pain is how the soul sheds illusions and awakens to what's real. It doesn't ask you to like it, it only asks you to listen. One of the greatest spiritual misunderstandings is believing that pain means you're doing something wrong. But often, the opposite is true. Pain can be a sign that you're stepping out of your comfort zone, shedding old layers, and confronting the ego's grip. The ego thrives in comfort and control. When that comfort is disturbed, it resists, and that resistance creates suffering. But it's not the pain itself that hurts most. It's our unwillingness to let go of what no longer serves us. When you start to see pain as communication rather than punishment, something shifts. You no longer feel like a victim. You realize you are in a sacred process of evolution. This is where true power is born, not from avoiding the fire, but from walking through it with awareness. Each time you meet your pain with presence, you reclaim a part of yourself that was once hidden in fear. Transformation is not a light switch, it's a slow, sacred burning away. The pain is the fire, and you are the alchemist. The ego melts, the illusions dissolve, and what's left is raw, real, and true. That's where your awakening lives, not in comfort, but in the courage to stay present in discomfort. If this message is opening something deep within you, don't just scroll. Subscribe now and explore more truths they never taught us. The process of spiritual awakening often involves a kind of internal death. This is not the death of your body, but of the identities, attachments, and false beliefs you've carried for years. And just like physical death, this inner death is uncomfortable, frightening, and unknown. But it is necessary. You cannot step into the next version of yourself while clinging to who you used to be. The pain you feel is often the tearing away of outdated layers of self, those that were never truly you. The soul uses pain to disrupt patterns that keep you asleep. Think about it. If everything in your life remained easy and predictable, what would push you to evolve? Growth is uncomfortable by design. Your soul doesn't want you to suffer endlessly. It wants you to wake up. And sometimes the only thing powerful enough to do that is discomfort. That's why pain shows up precisely when it's time to break through an illusion or limitation. The most profound realizations often follow the deepest pain. That's not coincidence. It's alchemy. Pain forces you to ask questions you would never ask in comfort. Who am I? What truly matters? What needs to die within me so I can be reborn? These are the questions that pain invites you to explore, and within them lies your freedom. One of the greatest gifts of pain is that it breaks your illusions of control. We think we're in charge until life humbles us. A breakup, a diagnosis, a failure, a loss. Suddenly, the facade crumbles. And in that crumbling, something real is revealed. Pain pulls us out of the mind and into the present. It forces us to feel what we've been avoiding, to confront what we've buried. And that's the beginning of liberation. Spiritual growth is not about escaping pain. It's about integrating it. You don't transcend suffering by denying it. You transcend it by moving through it consciously. Pain is the initiation. It shows you where you're still asleep, where you're clinging, and where you need to release. And when you allow pain to complete its work, it leaves behind wisdom. Not just knowledge, but embodied truth. You become someone new, not because you learned something, but because you lived through something that changed you. This is why the soul calls in pain, not to punish you, but to prepare you. The pain you're in right now might be the doorway to the next version of your destiny. You don't need to like it, but you do need to trust it. Pain also strips away the false identities we've built to survive. We wear masks to be accepted, strong, successful, in control. But pain tears off those masks and shows us who we really are beneath the surface. In moments of raw vulnerability, our most authentic self has a chance to emerge. It's not always pretty, and it's rarely easy, but it is real, and truth is the foundation of all spiritual growth. There's a reason why so many spiritual awakenings begin after a breakdown. When the structures you depended on collapse, you're forced to rebuild on something deeper. That something is your soul's truth, and the construction begins with honesty. Honesty about your fears, your wounds, your needs. Pain forces honesty. You can't fake your way through suffering. It demands presence. It demands surrender. And here's what's beautiful. Once you surrender to the process, pain becomes less of a weight and more of a guide. It begins to reveal what's truly valuable, what matters most. And suddenly, the things that used to stress you no longer hold power. You start to realize that some things had to break for the truth to come through. Pain also awakens compassion, not just for ourselves, but for others. When you've suffered deeply, you become more sensitive to the pain of others. You no longer judge their struggles or dismiss their emotions. You recognize yourself in their wounds. This is not weakness, it's sacred empathy. The soul matures through suffering because it learns how to love more honestly, more deeply, and more unconditionally. That's why some of the wisest, kindest, and most spiritually grounded people have walked through fire. They've known heartbreak, loss, failure, and despair. And instead of becoming bitter, they became compassionate. Pain either hardens you or opens you. The choice is always yours. When you use your pain as a doorway to love, you begin to alchemize it. And through that alchemy, you become a healer, not just for others, but for your past selves. Healing isn't about erasing the pain, it's about making peace with it. When you integrate your suffering, it no longer controls you. It becomes part of your strength, your story, your medicine. That's the paradox of spiritual pain. It breaks you open so that your light can finally shine through the cracks. So what if the pain you're feeling right now isn't a punishment, but a portal? What if it's not the end, but the initiation of something sacred? Pain is how the soul gets your attention. It's how life realigns you with your truth. When you honor your suffering, when you give it space and listen to its message, you're not just surviving it, you're transforming through it. You're letting it carve new depth into your being, creating space for greater wisdom, greater love, and greater light. There is no awakening without discomfort. Every spiritual breakthrough has its roots in something that once broke you. And as you reflect on your own journey, you might realize the darkest moments were also the most meaningful. The pain didn't destroy you, it revealed you. It exposed who you truly are beneath all the noise, roles, and expectations. You're not broken. You're becoming someone deeper, more conscious, more whole. So the next time pain visits, try not to run. Ask it, what are you here to teach me? Because when you make pain your teacher, it becomes your path to power. What if the pain you've been trying to escape is actually the doorway to the life you've been searching for?